are going to learn about a service called IAM. Just a brief disclaimer about this. This is more related to security part of the cloud side. Okay, but as a developer or as a data engineer, we should all know this very well. We may not be very good at it by hands-ons, that is okay, but we should be knowing its value for the security of the cloud, because security is very critical thing in the real time. So we might be writing very good codes, we might be doing very good data engineering, data analysis, all those things. But if your data is not secure on cloud, if it is hackable, if unauthorized users can access this, then that's going to be a problem. And if we cannot take care of the security part, it's actually definitely going to be a issue. So this is a service on AWS, we can say, which is more or less completely responsible for your security thing. So AWS IAM is an identity and access management web service that helps you to securely control the access to AWS resources. This means, first of all, you can give the accesses to the users, like who all can access your AWS account, and if they can access what all services those guys can access, or they have access to all the services. Okay, and then what kind of access they have, like they have a complete access like read access, or I mean if they have a complete access, or they have just read access, like they can view the some resources but they cannot modify those. So you can say very fine-grained level access we can design with the help of IAM service. We can centrally manage the permissions. That means you can create the user groups. You can assign some people inside those. You can create users and you can give the permissions to those things. Okay, and this is I already said, like we can decide like who all can authenticate and authorize to use the cloud resources. Cloud resources means like it is like I can create a user. Let's say I have a team of data engineers and he's all going to work on the same project. So I can give him the access of S3 buckets, AWS Glue, and maybe Athena and Redshift. But rest of the services such as EC2 machines, DynamoDBs, EMR systems, and your Kinesis, your machine learning services, those things you will like to prohibit it for the particular user because that is not required at that particular time. And as and when it is required, you can add those permissions or remove the permission depending on your user access. Okay, so I'll just take a pause here if somebody has any questions about its introduction, like what it is doing, like which use case it's solving. Okay, the other details we will see in the next few minutes.
So Jalaj, IAM means it is a service offered by the cloud, completely dealing with the security part.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so any more questions? Okay, in that case, I'll just move ahead. Okay, so its features, as I actually already mentioned all these things. One of the thing is like we can have shared access to our AWS account. Like right now, I have my personal account, and if I want to share it with somebody else, I can create his user and I can give him the permissions that which are necessary to perform his tasks. General permissions, as I mentioned. This actually means in a real-time project, you should only assign the permissions which are actually required to perform their task. Like if somebody does not need to access EMR machines, then he should not be able to access those and launch an EMR clusters. Okay, this is like just give them whatever they need to complete their task. Okay, that means granular permissions. Multi-factor authentication. This means Like we use ID, email ID, and password to sign in into our AWS consoles, but we can also enable multi-factor authentications. That means we might get OTP on our mobile or OTP on Google Authenticator app to go ahead and log in into your client. Like so, after providing your password, it will also ask you for the real-time OTP. Okay, and this IAM service is completely free service. There are no charges occurred for the IAM, and it is eventually consistent. Like it will not take a minute. As and when you create the IAM roles, IAM permissions, those are going to take effect immediately. Okay, so let's go ahead on the IAM console and understand it there. Okay, so to go on IAM, if you have used recently, you can find it here. Otherwise, you can type it in the search box, IAM, and you can go on the IAM service. Okay, so now here you can see, first of all, this is the landing page, and this is going to be same for you. And you can see here I can add MFA for my root user. I have not opted for it, but if you guys want to opt for the MFA authentication, you can just click on add MFA. And here you can click on assign MFA. You just have to select a device name, like any name you can give here. You have to download the Google Authenticator app from the App Store or iOS Store or the Google Play Store. That is the best thing to use MFA for users like us. Other things like security key and hardware token generating machines we don't have. So we can easily use the Authenticator app. And if I just give the name here and click on next. Here you just have to open that particular app on your mobile phone. Once you open the app, click on this show QR code, scan this QR code, and then you have to type the generated two MFA codes on your mobile phone, which are generated inside your Google Authenticator app. Then once you enter those MFA codes, simply click on the add MFA. So next time when you try to log in into your cloud environment, after giving your password, it will ask you for a OTP. That OTP you have to provide from the mobile phone's Google Authenticator app. Okay, so I'm not willing to go ahead and add MFA for my account. So if you guys think it's necessary for you, you can just go ahead and do it. Then few things that as a developer we should need to learn hands-ons also. Okay, so as I mentioned, in real time mostly this IAM is actually taken care by security engineers. Okay, security or the admin engineers, it is mostly taken care by. So those are the guys who are responsible for your account management. But for some extent, we should also know these things because for our personal accounts, nobody is there to set up the IAM rules for you and to use any services in this AWS environment. Let's say you are writing a Lambda code that tries to access S3 files. Okay, to do that also you need IAM role. Without IAM role, you cannot access any service from any different service. Like two different services cannot talk to each other unless a proper IAM rule has been configured for those services. For an example, one more example, if I say I cannot connect with AWS Redshift unless my glue job has the correct IAM role. Like correct IAM role means which has the sufficient permission to access the data or access the Redshift cluster. So to understand it better, these 3-4 things we need to understand only. So first thing is IAM user. So IAM user is something who can access your account. Okay, basically in simple words, a user who can access your account. Now a user can be a machine. Okay, machine means let's say you might be having a Teradata of on your on-premise or something, or any actually tool. Okay, on any third-party tool which might want to place some data on S3 buckets. So for that, you can create a user and you can give him programmatic access, and that you can use for your connection with S3s. So, and it like this is the programmatic access, okay, giving the access to third-party softwares. Then there's a user, that means users like human users like me and you, all those users. So for those also, you can create users from here. You can give them console access and you can assign them ID and password, and you can create policies so they can use that users detail to log in into your cloud and do their work. Okay, so it's very easy to create a user here. You just have to click on add user. We have to select a username. So let's say I select demo user AWS. I will just copy paste it on the notepad. And this is the option. Like if you don't check out this option, this is by default it's going to be created for your third-party software. So you have to select this option to give the console access. Okay, so console access, if you want to give to anybody, you have to use this option. And then you have an option of specifying the user in the identity center. This is like you can create this center and use this thing for your cloud applications, and real time most of the organizations use this thing only, so they can inbuild their like Windows login with your IAM login, and they can use single sign-on. So for us, like we do not have any Active Directory or those kind of things, so I have to create the IAM user, like pure IAM user. Then I have this custom password and auto-generated password, so I can select my password using custom password. And I am not allowing, like I am fine with my current password. I don't want user to generate a new password when they sign in first time. I click on next. Then I can either add this user to group. Like I can create a user group first. Okay. Let's say I create a developer group, and whatever the permissions are required for developers, I can assign those policies and permissions to that particular group. And then when a new developer in my project, I can just add that user into that particular user group. So group permissions also you can attach using the user group. And if you want to copy permissions from the existing user, you can also do that. But we are going to go to attach the policies directly. Okay. Then we have two kinds of policies. Okay, there are AWS managed policies. So you can see those things here. You have AWS managed policies. Then you have a customer managed policy. Okay, so difference between customer managed policy and AWS managed policy is these policies are created by the user. Like me, I have created these policies separately. These are very specific policies which I have created. Okay, but here these are AWS managed policies which are having the rules, which are predefined rules, like generic rules which you can use. So let's say I am creating a user, this user which I have I'm creating. I want to give this user to access, allow him access to S3 buckets. Okay, S3 buckets I want to allow me access, so I can just select S3, and then I have the option of either giving him S3 full access. If you just click on the plus sign, you can see what is the policy that you are going to assign to him. Okay. Then I have S3 read-only access, then some other S3 related roles. So let's say I just want to assign him S3 read-only access. I can check out, I can click on this box, and I can click on next. So I have selected my username. I have selected what policies, like what permissions I need to give him. Then I can come down and just click on create user. So before this, if you have any question, because if I click on this, I won't be able to go back. So if you have the questions, you can ask me.
So this IAM kind of security as in group size also.
Sorry, Varsa, I am not able to hear you properly.
Now can you hear me? Now?
Not a great improvement.
Now
Yeah, tell just try. I
I will just rejoin the call. I will ask
No,
in
no, 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 no. Sorry, I am not able to hear you.
yeah, I will ask in some time.
Yeah, sure. Okay, then I'm just going to hit on create user. So now our user is created, okay, and this is my console sign-in URL. From this, this is my account number, which is also present here, account ID or account number. I'll just take this account ID with me. And then there's my password and username, which is fine. I am just going to log out from my account. As you can see, we always had the two options, like I can log in my AWS using root user, or I can use the IAM user here. So I'm just going to click on IAM user, and then I have to provide my 12-digit account ID. That's why I copied my account ID. Going to paste it here. And then I need to provide my username. And my password is same, so I'm just going to click on sign in. So you can see here now my details, sign-in details are different. It says demo user AWS at my account ID, and earlier it had my name here. So if I just try to access some services, let's say I want to try Lambda functions. So I will get a user that it is not authorized to perform any actions on this. Okay. And let's say if I just go back to my home page. And let's say I try to access, let's say glue. And let's say I try to create a ETL job. And let me try to hit create. Okay, not here. Even actually, I won't be able to save this job actually, but here I need to say make some changes. So let's say I go and Spark script editor and hit on create. I will get the error that the specified key does not exist. That means I don't have the permissions to get object things. Okay, and if I go back to other services, I mean, basically any of the services other than S3 you won't be able to access. Okay, so you can try creating this user and you can try any of the service. Let's say IAM also. So you can see it clearly says access denied at every place, because now I cannot go ahead and make changes in my user details or role details, because it is not allowed. I can only go into S3 files. So let's now try to go in S3. Okay, and now let me just try to go inside some bucket. So let's say I go inside this bucket, and let's say I try to delete this file. Remember, I just have the read-only access permission. So if I try to go ahead and delete it, I should get an error here. So if I just type delete here, you can see I have access denied errors, and you can see here it's access denied errors. So if I try to read this file now, okay, so let me just try and read this file. If I go inside housing, okay, I don't have any file here, and this is not supported by SC select. So let's just go on a different bucket, and let's just go inside this bucket. Let me try to read this file. I should be able to do query with SC select. Okay, this is customer master key. That means this is my encrypted with KMS. So I need to select a different file here. So that particular key is now not existing. It is not related to IAM. This is related to my KMS thing. So if I just try to access this file, let's see how it is encrypted. Yeah, I can see results here. So read accesses, read things, I can go ahead and do it, but I cannot make any changes. And read also, I think, have the access to download your file. So if you just try to download this file, it should be there. Yeah, you can download the file, because just read things you can do. You cannot manipulate the files. You cannot modify the files. I cannot go ahead and upload any files. So if I just try to go ahead and upload the files, I should get the error. Yeah, you can see I have got error, access denied. Okay, so now if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to log into my root user.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Very little.
I will ask later.
Let's try if I can get it. Please try, Vasha.
Yeah. My question is like IAM is a kind of provide the security as a role level also, and plus as a software also, kind of QR scan and OTP it is asking. So in that way also we can set up the options.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just log in with my root user. I'll just sign out from this. If I started recording or not. It's working. So
Jalaj, in real time, it is always IAM login.
see, in real time, what companies do mostly, like when you log in into your Windows machines, like you log in into machines, you have to provide some company related ID and then password you use, like my username and password that we use. So what they have is they have Active Directory, that is a Microsoft product, and they integrate that with IAM. So it's like one link kind of thing you will get, and when you hit the AWS, you will be auto authenticated into the clouds, and role selection and all those things are configured via one click. It's like kind of a what they call it. I'm not getting them. I'm not able to declare that name. Single sign-on user. Okay, that means once you have signed in your Office laptops, that means you're authenticated there itself. Okay, now the permissions that you have, you can utilize those on cloud also. So in real time, you will very less say that you have a ID passwords like this, which I have shown you. I had to show you because I wanted to demo it to you that this is possible. Okay. Just the way of logging in is a slight different. Okay. But rest of the thing concepts are actually same. So if I go back to my IAM service, so here we have learned about users, and user groups is nothing but you can create the users, and let's say you want to manage 50 users, and obviously you want to give same permissions to those users. So instead of giving permissions separately, you can create a group and assign policies into the group, and then as in when you have more number of users, you can create a user and add that particular user into this group. So whatever the permissions this group has, those will be auto allocated to the new user. Then roles. Then this is one important thing that we have to understand. So users and policies we have seen, but roles is something that we have want to see. So it is like roles are given to AWS services to connect with a different AWS services. So let's say you are looking to write a Lambda function that might want to connect with S3 service, okay, S3 bucket. Then you have to create a role which allows to Lambda function to access the S3 buckets, okay. So for that, that is also an easy process. You can simply click on create role, and then you have to use AWS service. And if you want to allow authority to different AWS accounts, you can use this AWS accounts. And if you want to give it to web identity, this is nothing but your Facebook. Like if you want to assign a single sign-on user with a web identity, like maybe it could be Facebook or your website or something like that, and you can use that. Then you have SML federation or custom trust policies. Those things, it is also again related to third-party softwares. But for us, that we have to understand, it is AWS trusted identity type. Okay, then you have to select the service. So by default, EC2 and Lambda are there. But let's say all the services you have, if you wanted to select, you can select it from here. Just type a service name. So let's say you want to assign some rules to AWS Glue. Just type the glue here and you will be able to see the glue here. But let's say for now, I want to assign some permissions to Lambda functions itself. I can select this Lambda and then I have to click on next. So here it's like I have selected to whom I want to assign permissions. So I'm saying I want to assign permissions to Lambda functions. Okay, then I can go on click next. Then it is like what permissions you want to assign. So let's say I want to assign him basic. If you search for basic, you will get this permission called AWS basic Lambda execution role. Okay, so this role has the permissions to which allows a Lambda functions to create a CloudWatch stream and put the CloudWatch logs on that particular CloudWatch stream. So this is we are going to do in a demo when we are on Lambda function. So tomorrow we will start a Lambda function, and then I will show you this in demo that how a CloudWatch log stream is created and how to see the logs on that particular service. But for now, you understand there is a service which allows us to see the logs of any jobs that we are writing in Lambda. And for that, it needs to have the Lambda basic execution role. And if you click on the plus, you can see what are the permissions that are assigned into this policy. So you can just come down. You can see it is allowing logs, create log group, create log stream, and put the log event there. OK. So I will select this permission. And this is my one of the permissions. So let's say I also want to assign S3 access, like I want to assign my Lambda function to be able to connect and work with S3s. So I can click on S3. Again, I will choose the same role. So let's say if you want to write some files, move some files, and delete some files from the S3, you will need S3 full access. Or if you just want to work with S3 as a read file, like you just want to read the file from S3 buckets, then you can use S3 read only access. So let's say I want to assign some full access, like I want to read, write, and delete the files. You can give full access. So two permissions I have assigned to this particular function. Then I can just come down, click on next. I will choose my role name. I will say Lambda access. And let me just make this also capital. Just select a name here. And then you can provide the description and just come down and click on create. So you can see we have two permissions assigned here. Then you can simply come down and click on create role. Okay, so we already have this. Also, I can just create _2. So now my role is actually created, and I can assign this role to my Lambda functions, which can work with S3 buckets now. So yeah, if you have any questions about the roles.
See, I still got confusion. See, generally we create a role and then we assign this role to the user. That is generally what we do, right? So, but here you are explaining this S3 bucket access can be given to Lambda. What is it? I couldn't comprehend. What can you come again?
Okay. There's two things. One is roles. Roles are assigned to AWS services like Lambda to access S3, S3 to access Lambda, Glue to access S3, Glue to access Redshift, Lambda to access Redshift. So this is roles where two AWS services wants to talk to each other. When I say some users can log in into the system and they can have some permissions assigned with those, that is your users. And there is a difference between users and roles. So users can be created for humans and third-party tools like Apache Talent, or your maybe on-premise running Spark clusters, or your Hadoop clusters, your Teradata, Informatica, those tools. If they want to connect with AWS, they have to use the row users. And if an AWS service wants to talk to AWS service, that can be done by roles.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Jalaj, we
Yes.
can create the rules and we can assign these roles to users as well as groups also, right?
No, only to see, understand this thing. Roles are there for AWS services. You can assign roles to AWS services. Okay. Users is a different thing. Users are like human users or third-party tools. Roles are something which have the accesses registered for AWS services. So let's say you want to write a AWS Glue job which reads data from S3, which writes logs on DynamoDB, and which push the data into Redshift. So for that thing, you have to create a IAM role where you will see entity type as AWS service, service name is Glue. Then you will assign S3 full access, DynamoDB access, and you will assign Redshift access. But on the counterpart, when you have new developer in your organization and you want to assign him some permission, in that case you will create a user for him and you will assign him the permission, like what all services he can use inside your AWS account. That is the difference between roles and users.
Okay, Jalaj.
They're assigning tagging this.
Okay. Okay, so I think one bucket policy available with me. Let me just try to find it out. Okay, so this is my bucket policy. Okay, and it is now I'm just going back to the this S3 part. Okay, I will just go on S3. I said yesterday that I will do a demo of bucket policy also, so you can check out here. That inside my buckets I have let's say I have this bucket. Actually I can take any bucket name. Let's say I go inside this bucket. If I go inside the permissions, then you can see I have bucket policies here. So now understand this like this. First, I have my block public access. That is, blocking the public access by default from any like nobody on internet can use your data just like that. Okay, they have to have the proper authentication, log in into the AWS account, and then they can use it. Okay, that is block public access. Then you have IAM roles, like who all can access, what all buckets can access. Like when I say I created the user and I assigned him S3 read-only access, I could have also gone ahead and created a policy where I could say I only want to assign him the particular buckets access. So I'm not remember if I have it with me. Yeah, that I don't have it with me right now. But you can actually also go ahead and say it like that. Okay, that is your limit. You are limiting. You are limiting that how much bucket or how much authorization a particular user has. Then there are bucket policies which has some specific things where you can go ahead and add some additional security controls. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and add this bucket policy. This particular bucket policy, which you can see on my screen, it is denying. So actually there are two kind of actions. You have the effect. Effect are two kinds of allow effect. That means you're allowing access to some services, and then you have deny effect. So I am saying this time effect as deny. What effect on what action? I am saying on S3 put object action. I want to deny my effect. Which resource? I am going to say add particular this resource. Okay. For this resource, if I try to upload some data, I have a denied effect, and on what condition I have this deny effect? The condition is this condition, that server side encryption should be equals to AES 256. This is the algorithm they use. This means it is SSC S3 encryption should be there. So slight changes I need to make in this policy. I need to change my bucket name. So I can just come back here let's say I'm trying to allow this to this particular bucket, AWS engineer. I will copy it from here and I will just paste it here. And I will just paste it here. Okay. So now I'm just saying I want to deny my all the things until unless I have the encryption provided. Like until unless I provide my SSE S3 encryption, my bucket policy should go ahead and disallow that any action. So if I just come back here and see this, I'm just doing for demo. You no need to memorize these JSON documents. You no need to understand these JSON documents. Okay, this is a part of security engineers. Just explaining to you guys. So coming back here, I just click on edit and paste the policy. And I can see there's no errors. I can just save the changes. It worked. So now if I try to go ahead and upload something here, remember this time I am logged in with my normal user, so I have all the permissions to upload the files. But if I try to upload a file, ideally it should not allow me until unless I select the particular encryption. So it should fail, and it says access denied again because I do not have the access to upload the files until unless I provide my server-side encryption details. So let's just try to again upload the file. Click on add files and then I'll select the same file. But this time, instead of directly clicking on update, I will just go inside the properties. And just scroll down below, you will see specify encryption key. Then you just have to select the bucket settings for default encryption, that is SSE S3. So this time I'm going to select the default encryption, which is my SSE S3. Okay, then I'm just going to click on upload. It should work now. And you can see with same role, with same permission, I was able to upload my file. But it is like only mandatory thing was that I had to choose the particular encryption type. The policy could also say you have to use KMS and you have to select the specific key only to encrypt the file. So these kind of policies are there. Let's say you have around 8 to 10 encryption keys, and like your security guy only expects you to encrypt all the files with some particular key. Then he can create this bucket policy where he can say you have to use this particular specific encryption key. If you don't do it, you won't be able to upload your data. So this was the example of this bucket policy. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Yeah, otherwise that's all from my info today. This is all from IAM. See, understand, I'm again repeating, you no need to go ahead and master the IAM. Okay, you should understand IAM, its use cases, and you should be able to create some policies and roles for your own AWS accounts. In real time, you will not be authorized to work with IAM services.
Tell me now.
It's actually very low, but yeah, I'll try my best.
Where we are assigning these roles?
Roles from now on, like from tomorrow onwards, you will see we will create many types of roles and we will assign them to different AWS services. So I'll say for roles, just have patience of 1 day, and we are going to create, like I have shown you an example of creating a role for Lambda function. Same kind of roles we are going to create for next 2-3 days. And this is actually required for all services. Like when I create a Redshift and I want to upload data, I need to create a role. When I use AWS Glue Job, I need to create a role. So roles is something like whenever we are trying to write some codes or some data engineering things we are going to try to do, we will see the roles in practice. And then it will be much more clear to all of you that what is roles exactly. Okay, if you have questions, you can still ask me. I'm still open for questions. Otherwise, we can wrap up for the today. Tomorrow, we are going to start with Lambda functions. Okay, so you can say a real data engineering work will start from tomorrow. And for that, if possible, just brush up your Python knowledge, specifically the list and dictionaries.
Okay, Jalaj.
Varsha,